Hey guys, welcome to Appalachia's Homestead. Patera with you today. Boy, we've got a meal for you. You're going to love this. We've actually done a video on this before, but I feel like I need to do another one again simply because every time you make this, it's never the exact same. And I really want to point out how frugal this meal is. Because it's one thing to be able to pull off a frugal meal or make your meals as frugal as possible, but this is the ultimate, and the reason being why is because you're not going to get one meal out of this. You're more than likely going to get two. We always do, and we're a big family of 5, and we like to eat. So let's show you what we're talking about. I call this my magic soup, and the reason this is so magical is because it is a no waste meal, and I'm telling you, I have been making this for years now. There has never been a time that it has not been a hit, even though it's going to vary a little bit. So let's show you what we do. The whole basis of knowing that you're going to have magic soup is understanding how important your leftovers are. Leftover roast, leftover spaghetti, leftover marinara sauce, leftover chili, leftover beans, leftover vegetables, all of this stuff. You know what I'm talking about when everybody's eating and it's just that tablespoon or 2 left over, that not enough to make for a meal, not enough, what do you do with it sort of thing? I'll tell you what you do is you get a Tupperware container or 2 and you start loading it up. That's what you do. I don't care if it's a teaspoon. I don't care if it's 2 or 3 tablespoons. You don't think it's enough? It absolutely is. So you're just going to start after every meal that you have at home, any leftovers that you have. Now, before I continue, let me tell you what to avoid. I wouldn't do fish. I wouldn't say fish. I would try to avoid cheesy items. And really, when I said spaghetti, I was really talking about your sauces, okay? Because you're going to add a pasta a little bit later, and you don't want that pasta to cook all day in this. But I freeze all of these items, and I let it build. Sometimes I have these beautiful layers that go up. This has been defrosting for an hour or 2. So I've got chili, I've got a little bit of marinara, and I've got some pot roast that's left over. Put it in here. Put the lid on it, put it in the freezer. It's been building for 2 or 3 weeks, whatever. I also have leftover taco meat and black beans. This stretched us 3 meals already. So what was left over, I purposely froze and left aside because I knew I was building a good magic soup coming up soon. So that's what we're going to use. So I like to use my crock pot because we've got to get outside today, and we are putting in huge posts for our expansion for our field. We're expanding our field for the cows. So this is going to be our magic soup day, okay? If you have a heavy homesteading day, homeschooling day, you know what I'm talking about. You got to go off and have a lot of chores that day, and you want to come home to a hearty meal. I'm telling you, this is the ultimate deal. All right, so here is that taco. This is grass-fed beef with taco sauce that was already in there. Taco meat. We've had enchiladas with this and burritos and all sorts of goodies. It also has black beans. This has been in my freezer too, and again, this is, I know for a fact, is just a little bit of leftover homemade chili, and underneath is also marinara, homemade marinara sauce when we had spaghetti, and then that looks like, gosh, there's even some beans. There's pinto beans. I didn't see the pinto beans. There's pinto beans. I love pinto beans. They make the soup really good, and then a little bit of pot roast. I'm just gonna plop it on in there. Now, right now, it's still frozen, okay? That's okay. So this is your basis for your soups. Now let me tell you something else that works really good is shredded chicken. If you've seen how to make a crock pot chicken in 1 or 2 of my other videos where I talk about, I have a crock pot chicken, I make 2 meals out of that. What I will do is take off any little bits of leftovers of that. Shred that chicken off, dark or light meat. Put it in the freezer, put it in here. It adds so much yumminess to your soup, so don't forget the chicken. Now, there's several ways you can continue on with this. I like to add vegetables to my soups. You do what you prefer. You can go about and do the canned goods if you want to, the veg-alls, the diced tomatoes, any peas or potatoes, whatever you like, okay? You don't have to stick completely with what I'm about to do, so I wanted to show you the different options there. We're going to have our homegrown, home-canned tomatoes. These are from 2014. I'm going to just plop them on in there. Because honestly, a tomato base in any of these soups is really the trick. We have homemade canned succotash. I canned this, so we're going to put the succotash in there. That's our homegrown Missouri Wonder green beans and corn. This is all from our pantry. Now, like I told you, you can do anything canned. If you didn't have a lot of meats, perhaps, in your base, every one of your bases in terms of what they are is going to vary. It depends on what you've been cooking. It depends on what you've been saving. So if you canned your ground beef like we do, you can put that in there. I'm not going to because I already have a lot of beef and roast beef, your pot roast in here. So I'm not going to add that this time, but I wanted to show you that's an option to make you think, like, oh, that would be good to add. So that would be good. I'm going to expand out just a little bit, and I'm going to add just one bag because I know how much my husband loves these vegetables. This is an organic foursome that you get at Trader Joe's. They're in the frozen aisle. I grab a bunch of these when I hit Trader Joe's. I think they're $1.99. Organic, frozen vegetables. Stash them in your freezer. Quick grab, quick meal, great for casseroles, great for chicken pot pies, great for this type of stuff. I'm going to put this in there. This is going to add peas, green beans, more corn, and shredded carrots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some water. This is going to be a huge soup, y'all. This is what I'm telling you. You're not getting one frugal meal for here, 5 people. You're going to get at least 2, okay? So let me tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to let this cook. Let this really heat up on high. You want to get this melting, let this, really get going. I'm going to let this all go for probably an hour or 2, okay? And then I'm going to come back and check on it. That's when I'm going to really start stirring it and it starts mixing it. I'm going to come back and I'm going to cut and dice. You can slice them, do them in large chunks, whatever you prefer. I find that these are our homegrown Yukon Gold potatoes. We got 250 pounds last year. So here it is at the end of February. We're still eating our potatoes. They're just so good. So I'm going to take probably 2 or 3 of those. I'm going to peel them and I'm going to dice them really small because that's going to cook faster too. And put that in there. And then about an hour before, which I will show you, maybe an hour, hour and a half before, I will throw in literally just a handful of pasta. And that's even debatable. You don't have to do that. So just to show you what's going on here, I haven't added any spices. I haven't added anything yet. I'm just going to let this cook. And then about an hour or 2 before, I'll taste it and see does it need salt, does it need a little bit of garlic, pepper, whatever. So we're going to let this cook. We'll show you the stages. Tonight we'll have it probably with cornbread. We're cornbread people. So big shock there, I'm sure. So let's see how she cooks up. All right, guys, we're about 2 hours later. You can see how big this soup is becoming. And I'm going to go ahead and put in my diced potatoes. So I want to go ahead and put those in because we want those to cook up in the soup and let it continue to cook on high. Now, if you were making this early in the morning, say 8 or 9 o'clock, and you wanted to set it for dinner time, then you would do that, on low. But since I'm not doing that, we're going to be here all day watching it, and I want it done a little bit lesser time. We're going to do it on high. So I'm going to let this cook for about another 2 hours, and then I'm going to taste test it, add some spices, and then at that point, which will be about an hour or 2 before we're ready to eat it probably, we're going to be looking at adding the organic elbow macaroni, and I'm telling you, I probably put in maybe a half a cup to a cup. It's just sort of a filler. I love pasta in my soup, so that's what we're doing right now. I'm going to mix this in, and we've got lots of work to do outside. All right, guys, we're inside finally. We got everything put back up, the barn closed down. We have worked all day long. Thank goodness for a meal like this from time to time to help us not only with our schedule, but also with being frugal. This right here, when you see it, you're going to easily see why a family of 5 is going to have at least 2 meals out of this. We're going to have it tonight for dinner, and we'll have it tomorrow for lunch. My husband can pack it for lunch. We'll have it here. It works out great. The math on this is somewhere around $1 per meal. If you estimate that I put in a bag of the frozen vegetables, which are around $2, the organic version from Trader Joe's, and then a handful of pasta, which I did, I'll show you, just a little hand toss of it, we're talking extremely affordable and so good. It's so hearty. Take a look at what I've got here. We used all of our leftovers, guys. Leftovers that were like 2 and 3 times over leftovers. Leftovers. Okay? We use our own canned goods. And like I said, you don't have to add in, you can add and take away whatever you want. Take a look at that. So this is going to be tonight's fabulous meal. I did whip up a little cornbread, but you can do crusty bread, you could do crackers or white bread, whatever you like. Just absolutely whatever you like. And you can just see sparingly some of the pasta in there. So this is how homesteaders have frugal meals, especially on very busy days. We appreciate y'all watching here at Appalachia's Homestead. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like what you see here. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest. We're going to enjoy this, and the rest of the night, we're going to take it easy. Y'all take care out there.